It's not everywhere in Fiji that you can find guys that will get into the water with you and do what we do, which is stick our hand out with a fish head in it and let a bigger shark take it away. And so when I came to the Pacific Harbour area, I found the guys were quite willing to do this. I had attempted to do this in the West and didn't have much success there as far as the staff getting in the water with me. But when I came to this area, they were quite willing. It's certainly not a safe activity for your feeder. I wouldn't want to imply that it's something that anyone can go out and do. It certainly takes quite some time to learn the behavior of animals and what to look for. There are definitely times when you don't want to have a fish head in your hand, and those are the things that you've got to look out for. And as far as the guests go, it's perfectly safe for the guests. The guests don't sit too close to the feeder. They sit a good 2 meters or 6 feet behind the feeder, and then they're still behind the wall. So they've got some protection. They can duck down if they feel the shark's coming a bit too close. We do have protectors down there with pole spears. And the pole spear, the idea of it is it's just like a shepherd's crook. And it's just really that if the sharks come and get too nosy near the guests, then they just get a bump on the nose. They get pushed away. Okay, so the thing that makes the site unique is the fact that we can see up to 8 species of shark on this one dive site. We can see bull sharks. We can also see silver tip sharks. We can see lemon sharks. We can see nurse sharks. We can see reef sharks such as grey reef, white tip reef, black tip. Of course, the 8th one is the big one everyone wants to see, is the tiger shark.
Your favorite shark species?
It's going to be the tiger. You know, her dominance over the other species when she comes into the site to feed. Okay, and that rubs off on you too. You know, as a feeder.
The fact that these sharks aren't viciously ripping out every piece of food that these guys put in front of them just goes to show that these animals aren't the mindless killers that they're often portrayed to be. They won't immediately rush in and take a piece of food right out of a feeder's hand at first glance. They'll go in, they'll take a few looks at it, and then they'll decide if it's a threat or not, and then they might take a piece of food. That being said, that doesn't mean that some of these sharks don't ever get too curious and come a little bit too close to us or the guests. And when that happens, we just have to give them a little bit of a nudge.
First shark dive we started was on a completely dead reef. The second one we started was on a completely dead reef, and so was the third one. And all 3 of these reefs have come back. Even the second one, which we no longer use, is now still a healthy reef. When we take guest diving there, it's called Combi Reef. And it's once it had a biodiversity that was attracted back by food, the actual other animals that stayed on after we removed ourselves, the carnivores are eating the juveniles when they're being born and things like that. And so there is a cyclic event there. The biodiversity has picked up. It's not just for tourists to see and to be amazed at and take pictures. It's actually good to have a healthy shark population in Fiji waters. It's what's going to protect the reefs. It's what's going to keep the biomass equal or even, so we don't have too many of one predator creeping up on a reef. This doesn't require you to be a special person or anything like that. You just have to be passionate about the animals, love the animals, like the animals. And you know, if you care that the animals are eating well or not, I would say is almost the prerequisite, for the job. You know what I mean? All our guys here, they care which sharks get fed and which girls are pregnant, and so there is a deep concern for the sharks, and I think that's why we push so hard to try and get them protected in Fiji.